Good evening. We are here at the Bellagio with information on all the tournaments in Las Vegas that you want to know about.
Two events are going on right now at the Bellagio. A bracelet will be awarded tonight in the $2,500 event, and the $5,000 tournament will play down to a final table. This afternoon, Lizzie was there in the Fontana Lounge to catch all the action.
Card players back here in the Fontana Lounge at the Bellagio for your Bellagio Cup 3 update. Today at 2 o'clock, yet another $5,000 buy-in no-limit tournament began. There are currently 5 tables remaining, and seated at these 5 tables are big-name pros like Renee Angelil, Shannon Shore, and Isaac Haxton. Now, the $5,000 buy-in no-limit tournament is not the only thing going on here in the Fontana Lounge today. The $2,500 no-limit tournament that began yesterday is playing their final table. There are 9 players remaining, and the chip leader is Stefan Madsen. They are all vying for the first place prize, which is $90,000, and that includes a seat into the WPT Championship for this coming April. If you want more information on the Bellagio's tournament series and you'd like to see interviews with some of the players here, be sure to check out our video titled Bellagio Cup 3. I'm Lizzie Harrison for Card Player TV.
Thanks for keeping us abreast of all the action at the Bellagio Cup 3, Lizzie.
Absolutely. Now at the Rio at 5 o'clock today, a mega satellite into Sunday's $50,000 horse tournament began. The buy-in for that mega satellite was $2,250. At noon today at the Rio, a $2,000 pot limit hold'em tournament started, and some of the pros near the top of that field right now are Joseph Hashem, Daniel Elahi, and TJ Cloutier.
Today is day 2 of event number 35, a $1,500 no-limit hold'em tournament. The chip leader going into day 2 is Dustin Dirksen, but he has fallen into the middle of the pack. Pros near the top of the chip counts include John Juwanda and Dutch Boyd. 2,541 entrants built a prize pool of almost $3.5 million for the event.
Now, there's another tournament that's also playing day 2 at the Rio. It is the $5,000 buy-in World Championship Omaha 8 or Better event. The chip leader going into day 2 was Kirill Gerasimov, and he has held on to his chip lead so far. European pros are also faring very well in this World Championship event. Patrick Antonius, David Benjamin, and Mel Judah are all at the top of the chip counts, and they are still in contention.
Now, Mark Gregorich is another pro who made it through day 1 and a field of 280 players. He returned to the Rio today at 3 p.m. for day 2 of the World Championship Omaha 8 or Better event. Before play began today, Gregorich stopped by Card Player to talk about the tournament.
Mark, you're about to head over to the Rio for day 2 of the Omaha 8 or Better Championship. Are you excited?
Yeah, although it's going to be a long day. On day 1 of this tournament, unlike I think every other tournament they've had this year, they didn't even bust half the field. So
why do you think that is?
Well, it was a 5 p.m. start
okay.
with 10,000 in chips, and Omaha 8 is kind of a slow game to begin with, so it usually takes longer to bust people in that tournament than it does in, say, the No Limit, where people can start going broke on the first hand. So
yeah.
I think we're still at about 160 players out of about the 280, 290 that started, so it's going to be a real long day, and I'm hoping I'm there for all of it. I hope I'm real tired tonight.
Do you expect play to be slow again today?
No, today's
the blinds are going up, yeah.
Yesterday, the structure was great yesterday, although I really think they could cut out the first level because it's more or less meaningless.
Just eliminate it?
Yeah, they can start higher. I don't think anybody's going to object. During this time of year, everybody's time is valuable, so sitting there for an extra hour just because they want to not bust people in the first 3 hours or whatever it is, I don't think that's a good reason. So I'd like to see them start higher and have the play be meaningful right from the start.
That makes sense.
I think everybody appreciates that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really do anybody any good to just sit there and not have anything happen.
So what was the field like? I know it's a bigger buy-in event. It's an Omaha non-hold'em event. So was the field more heavy with pros?
Well, yeah, this is always one of the more popular events with the professional players, the biggest buy-in Omaha 8 or Better player, because all the mixed game players play Omaha 8.
Yeah.
And the mixed game players are in general the higher limit players, so you're going to get all of the well-known, all the big names that aren't in another tournament this year to play it. But I was real pleasantly surprised with the numbers. I mean, almost 300 for this one. It outdrew the 5,000 limit hold'em. And
that's impressive.
I mean, more people play hold'em in Omaha, but this event had more people in it. So
why do you think it did draw more people?
Maybe it's more popular with the higher limit players, would be my guess. And it's a very popular tournament game. And I saw a lot of people in there that I'm not sure they know how to spell Omaha. I mean, it was
a little bit inexperienced.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that.
What did you see? Tell us something, an interesting hand you might have seen.
Well, unfortunately, my table was not. Everybody knew how to spell the game at my table. It was. I had to have drawn one of the worst tables in there, and you know we have a couple of real top players.
Like who?
Todd Brunson is sitting 2 or 3 to my right, and he'll be there for the rest of the tournament, I assume. And Todd's a great player. He has a bracelet in this event already, and
Is he wearing it at the table?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Some players do that. So
he doesn't flash it too much. But Todd is clearly he's one of the absolute elite players in the world. So he's super tough. At the end of the day last night, Jennifer Harmon got moved in, so she'll be there today as well. And then to my immediate right is a player who's not as well known, but he may be the strongest player at the table in this game, Jeff King from back east. He's not as well known as say Todd or Jennifer, maybe because he doesn't live in Vegas. But Jeff's a real top-notch player. I more or less doubled my chips without really playing a big hand. Probably the biggest pot I played the whole day was Todd had come in raising, and I picked up aces with a couple of low cards, and I re-raised. And then Freddie Deeb, who was there at the time, called the 3 bets. So the 3 of us played a pretty big pot. And I turned a set of aces, and I think I had a nut flush draw and a low draw with it. So, I pretty much had the monster hand. And both of them, as it turned out, had like 4 high cards and were drawing at the high straight. So I got a low card in the end, and I scooped that. That was really the only big pot I won all day.
So what other events have you played at this year's World Series?
Well, if you go down the schedule, you can pretty much check them off. I have 2 cashes. I think I've played like 14 tournaments, so that's okay, but it's not great. And my cashes total like 30,000, which would be okay, but my buy-ins are like closer to 50 now. So hasn't been a great tournament yet. Hasn't been a total disaster, but it hasn't been what I'm hoping.
Ideal,
but fortunately, I still have this event. And there's some other good ones coming up in the next couple of weeks, so I'm still optimistic. I feel like I've played pretty well for most of the tournament. There's a couple hands I'd like to have back, but I guess everybody probably has those.
Yeah, that's true. Primarily now, are you a no limit hold'em player, or what game do you play the most?
When I play cash games, I'll either play limit hold'em, or I'll play mixed games at Bellagio.
Okay.
I won't play in the Bobby's room,
the big game.
But I'll play a level or 2 down from that in the 2 and 400, 3 and 600 if I like the game. And I play a lot of 1 and 200 limit hold'em.
Here at the Bellagio?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, good luck today. Thanks for coming by, Mark. Unfortunately, we just found out that Mark was recently eliminated from the World Championship Omaha tournament. I'm sure we'll see him up there in the chip counts again soon. He really is a great Omaha player.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the final table of the $3,000 buy-in limit hold'em tournament that began Wednesday is playing, and 6 players remain. The chip leader going in was Alexander Borte, but not anymore. The current chip leader is Sean Keller. David the Dragon Pham, currently in 4th in the Card Player of the Year race, entered the table in 3rd in chip position and is now the short-stacked player. The first place prize that they're all gunning for is $225,000, and there are 296 entrants.
Now, event number 3 was a $1,500 pot limit Omaha tournament with rebuys. It's also playing its final table right now, and 3 players remain. Chip leader going in was Kushkar Morad, and he has held on to that chip lead. He has an enormous chip lead right now over the other 2 remaining players. Now, Chao Jiang, who already holds 3 World Series of Poker bracelet, was also at this final table, but he exited in 5th place. Europeans had a very strong showing at this final table. Alan Smurfit and Chris Bajorn are among the 3 players remaining. There were 293 entrants, and they rebought 880 times, built a total prize pool of over $1.6 million. First place in this tournament will take home almost $500,000.
Now, tournaments are not the only poker being played in Las Vegas. During prime tournament periods, there are always enormous side games going on, and this year is no exception. Earlier today, Lizzie sat down with Sammy Farha to talk about the side games and more.
Sammy, thanks for being here. How has the 38th World Series of Poker treated you so far?
So far, I haven't been playing so many. I think I played like 3 of them only.
Yeah?
And I wasn't crazy about the structure.
What didn't you like about it?
The blinds are so high. They double the chips. Like they buy in 5,000, they give you 10,000 worth of chips. which is okay, but it doesn't make sense.
Because then they just raise the blinds.
They raise the blinds.
You're losing play anyway.
You're losing play. You're not playing good. There's a lot of free buys. It makes you gamble a lot.
Yeah.
And I think they've done it for a reason. It's good for certain players, I guess, because they keep. They like me. I don't care that much about tournaments. I'm not a tournament player. I play certain ones that I like, but a lot of players that playing it every day for the bracelet, it helps them out.
Does it? And why? How does it help them?
Well, if they get knocked out, they can rebuy.
Okay.
You know, and certain players like me, they're playing fast. They go all in every hand. So it has advantage to certain players. Now you don't think about it. You just go all in, trying to
get enough chips to play
gamble.
poker.
Exactly, and it could cost you a lot, and then it could help a lot of players also. You know, I like to play poker. When you have 5,000 worth of chips, then you play a little bit conservative. The blinds are a lot smaller. You can't go all in on the flop.
Yeah.
The way the structure is right now, you're all in on the flop.
That's true.
And it's like no limit hold'em. You know, the same thing.
Yeah.
Anytime you go all in, the skills is out.
So you haven't been playing that much over at the Rio. What have you been doing with your time here in Vegas?
I've played side action a little bit.
What are the side games like this year?
It's not as good because most of the big players, they made some side bets.
Oh, okay. What kind of side bets?
Well, whoever wins the tournament, they lay in 5-1 or something like this. So they're all committed to play tournaments every day, and that killed the side action a little bit.
Yeah. So have you been able to get games up at night?
There is, but it's always short-handed.
Who have you been playing with?
I've been playing with the internet player.
Yeah? Which internet player?
Uh,
You don't have to tell. It's okay.
Yeah.
Unknown internet player.
He's probably known. He won so much money on the internet.
Yeah.
He's the biggest winner on the internet.
What's it like playing internet players when you've most of your life made your money playing against professional poker players who played live? But is it different to play internet guys?
It's not that different, but they're funny in a way. They're used on the internet. They see the numbers. It's easy.
Yeah.
Every hand you play against, how much money you have? Okay, but
They can't count the chips?
They can't count the chips. They want a perfect number. And we're not used to this.
Yeah, that's definitely different.
You know, they have to keep an eye or protect their own money or look at the other place, how much they have.
Yeah.
Which they got to get used to it. And they're pretty aggressive.
Yeah, that's
Really aggressive.
put a lot of bets out there. What games have you been playing in the side games?
I've been playing 2 games, Spot Limit Omaha and No Limit Hold'em.
Okay. And so are you going to be playing any poker today, or what are you doing today with yourself?
I'll probably try to find me a game.
Yeah?
Hopefully.
Make a few phone calls?
Yeah.
I noticed that you've been playing a lot of blackjack lately. Every time I walk through the Bellagio, I see you at the blackjack table. How's that going for you?
Let's put it this way: you can't beat the casino. You win 3 days in.
I got to catch you on a different day to talk about it.
Well, no, it's like this: I win 3-4 days in a row, and then one day, boom, I break even or end up losing. But,
Do you consider yourself like a professional blackjack player? Do you
No.
count the cards?
no, definitely not.
It's for fun.
It's not even for fun.
What's it for? Why do you play blackjack, Sammy?
No, sometimes it's relaxing. Sometimes I'll enjoy the game so much.
Yeah,
I think it's my favorite casino game.
really.
Well, sometimes you get to split double downs and things. It's not a great game, but it's fun.
Something to do.
It's
So
it's a bad habit to do.
what's the next World Series event that you will be playing in?
I'll be playing the 50,000 definitely.
Okay.
I'll be playing the 10,000 Omaha pot limit and the main event.
So what do you think about the satellites into the 50,000? They've been running a lot of satellites, so there's going to be more inexperienced players this year than there has been in the past. Do you think that's going to change anything? Do you think it's going to be different to have amateurs in the $50,000 horse fields?
It doesn't matter. It's good to have him because it's more money for the pros. And
True.
you're going to see the same thing last year you saw. A full table, final table full of pros.
And
Because the amateur won't last in that game.
what about for the main event? Do you think there'll be a pro at that final table?
That I cannot predict. Because
Could you pick who you think will go furthest? You're going to be at the final table again, Sammy?
I don't know. I'll tell you what. If I build my chips, I will go to the final table. For me, it's hard to build my chips because I gambled so much. So I have to get lucky in the beginning.
And then you can just
Because
keep
I press-
going, steamroll them.
Exactly. Then I can play poker.
So what do you think of the main event this year? Do you think it will have more players than it did last year?
Definitely not.
No.
Because of the internet law, it changed a lot. So I bet we can lose about 30% of the players.
Really?
Hopefully not, but you
What about the Bellagio Cup 3? Have you touched that at all?
Not yet.
Are you going to try?
Maybe. You know, I
Jack
haven't-
McClellan is throwing a really good tournament down there. He's very excited about it. So it has been attracting good players.
I might play. It depends. It depends how many players.
That's true.
You know, it depends how. I never think about tournaments. It depends what time I wake up, and then I just go and play.
So cash games are your bread and butter.
Yeah, it's more fun. I like the action in them. You can go broke. I mean, of course, you can go broke, but you can rebuy at least certain times.
You can leave when you want.
You can leave when you want.
Sammy really takes the time to enjoy his life. I mean, at the Rio, the World Series of Poker is going on, comes around once a year here at the Bellagio. Same thing with the Bellagio Cup 3. And yet Sammy's at the blackjack tables just having a good time, kicking back, and doing what he wants to do. If more poker players did what they wanted to do, they'd be happier people.
Well, that's all we've got for this episode of Poker Tonight. And remember, we're here every night during this summer with all of the tournament poker action. Good night, everybody.
Good night.